Okay, I wanted to put a title to our live today. Hey Tavia, we're gonna be talking with Joyce about everything that's been going on, and more importantly, as business owners. Um, let me just get Joyce on board here again. And she's going to join us in a minute. We've been having these conversations about everything that's been going on. Look what I have always with me. Hey, Lauren. Oh, Lauren, I really want to touch base with you. I want you to join Joyce and I in our program. But listen, guys. Oh, Joyce is here. Joyce, come. I'm going to invite you again. Let me see. I'm going to invite you again, Joyce. And why are you unable to join? I don't know why. Why are you unable to join? Accept. There we go. Okay. There we go. Joyce should be in a minute. And I'm going to tell you guys.
Me?
Yes.
Hey! Made it happen. It took a little while.
I want to tell you something. This must be really, really good if the other side took over and disturbed our technology in such a way that we're late. And we told everybody we're going to be live at 12:30, but here we are. I think it's very important that we're here, Joyce. I'm so happy to see you. You're a breath of fresh air. You're a joy. And I think I was telling everybody, this is my companion, constant companion.
I've got a bunch of them here too.
Of course this. but let's get to business, because I think, Joyce, this is something that you and I personally have been struggling with. I think people in our audience and our communities have been struggling with. I was just talking inside my membership about this idea that we're all numb and frozen and hurt and broken, and yet we have a bright light to shine. We have businesses, we have work endeavors, we have so much to give and to do, and we're feeling this tension of what do I do? And I think part of it is, we have to be we have to be kind to ourselves and gentle. And I don't want anybody to walk away from this conversation if you're not ready to go full on what your business and work life was. Just hone in on that. Just to be true to that. It's okay. I think we all go through stages, and I think it's like this, and we have to honor that and be gentle with ourselves. But I think there's also a deeper conversation here, Joyce, that hasn't happened yet, and you are feeling it, I'm feeling it, my community's feeling it, and it's a big important reminder that there is something for us to do, and that involves doing mitzvahs, saying Tehillim, all the things. But there's one piece that we can't forget, and that is why we're entrepreneurs, why we have our businesses, and how improving the world in that area with those God-given talents and generating the money and improving the physicality is actually part of fulfilling this culmination of this horrific, painful process that we're in, which is bringing the Moshiach. And that our businesses, I think, are such a huge part of that. And while I don't want anybody to feel like, oh my gosh, they're pushing me to be all in and I'm not ready, God forbid, I do want us to remember why we started these businesses, why we do what we do, that it's a God-given talent, that it's a bracha, that the money that we generate is actually going to be used for holy, incredible things. So I don't know, you want to chime in, because I know you feel the same way, and I'm sure you've had other conversations with people regarding this.
Sure. I think that there's two things that come up for me when I'm trying to balance what is happening on globally and what's happening right now globally, and then just business. Obviously I run a bunch of businesses, and some of them are in the more Jewish space, some of them are not. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of silence. But I think that two words really kind of come up for me, and one is authenticity and one is shame. I think in general, I've seen a return to promoting businesses that are in line with who we are. And then you never feel like you're selling anything. You never feel like it's a force. And so I think part of our God-given mission here is to bring companies, products, things that we feel aligned as individuals. And typically when you don't have that alignment, it makes moments like this so much more difficult to translate that message. So One, I think that for some of us who are running direct to consumer businesses, where social media is a huge component of those businesses, it's a very trying time because what are we supposed to be posting? You know, our beautiful soldiers, or are we supposed to be posting, you know, what's happening, you know, in XYZ business that's direct to consumer and social media fueled? And I think that there's a real balance, and it's the same way we're going about and architecting our day is truly through this balance of authenticity. So can we feel both emotions at the same time? Are we allowed? Like, am I allowed to smile, or am I smiling too much for social media right now? And I think that part of our work in combating this darkness is bringing forward the light. You said it so beautifully. It's through our mitzvahs, through our davening, you know, through our, you know, God-given gifts that we have to give into this world. And so is it too much if you're posting about your business? Absolutely not. And especially when it comes to helping your family, other families. I don't know if anybody here who's listening right now in this live, you know, has a team. And I think one of the things that has been really difficult for me is like, how do you manage this team and inspire them with huge inspiration as I typically bring to the table, and then yet I'm brokenhearted, right? So the other point that I wanted to talk about outside of authenticity is shame. Why are we ashamed to be focusing some of our time on the things that bring us back the ability to make tzedakah? I know that that's a foundational pillar in all of the businesses that I run, is my give back. And so if my give back is helping Israel right now, and if my give back and my true alignment and authenticity is to be there to promote, you know, Judaism and my spirituality and being a Jewish leader, I think that, you know, when you look at a king and a queen in a time that's very difficult, you want to see, how are they behaving? Are they inspiring me to sell, to be there and run this business, to be poised, to break down, and then to pull myself back together again, because all of these things are happening at the same time. And we're actually very excited. I know we have another another Instagram live coming up later next week. I think it is, or this week.
I think this week.
It's this week. With, you know, with a huge powerhouse in the apparel industry on this same topic, because, you know, I think it's something that all of us are feeling. And the question, you know, he asked me is, what if I'm only able to do it well on some days, you know? And I think like, that's a real question. Like, who are we, you know, are we going to give some amazing piece of advice today that is going to wake you up and say like, oh, that's it. You know, I can put the war right here and box it up so that I can be this huge entrepreneur right now. No, this is truly about being a real entrepreneur, and a real entrepreneur goes through times where there are crises, whether it's in their business or outside of their business. And so I think that kind of managing that authenticity and bringing your authentic self to the space, and then balancing the shame, because there really has to be balance, but there doesn't have to be shame when we're managing our businesses today.
And I think when we're so clear on our why, like, why are we in business, and why is this business good and purposeful and meaning and impactful in the world? And that's not just my world, not just the things that I do with my tzedakah, but what everybody else does with the benefits that business offers them in the consumer and our teams, right? I have a team member who is in Eretz Israel, right? Her husband got recruited, right? The ability that we have to pay her, and to pay her more. And like I was talking in my membership, the ability that each of you have to improve other people's lives with your light, with what you're bringing to the table, all of that is bringing light into the world, much needed light. So I think we have to be clear that, you know, spirituality and physicality are not two different things, and that this is not mutually exclusive. Working and growing your businesses, and somebody was telling me, I miss working, right? A part of her misses being productive and shining, right? That is not mutually exclusive with this, with tefillah, with taking time to pray, with, right? And like you very well said before, Joyce, you know, this is the paradox of being Jewish, and we've learned it as Jews. Like, we can hold two very opposite emotions and feelings of joy and of sadness at the same time, right? Of productivity and of brokenness at the same time. And it's because, I think it's because we have a godly soul, and God gives us the power to do something that seems like, how can a person do that? And yet we have the strength from way deep within us to do something. And I'll tell you something. I was reading, I have a colleague, her name is Simi Mandelbaum. She was on Jewish Money Matters podcast not long ago. She's a financial therapist, and she just posted something so beautiful on LinkedIn. She said, it's not moving on, it's going on. And I think that was so beautifully expressed. I want every business owner, and even if you're not a business owner, but you are in a position where you are working, you're giving over to the world, right? I want everybody in these positions of leadership to know, no, you're not moving on. We are going on, because that's what we do. And part of us helping and improving the world, again, and I'm going to say this a million times, and we've said it on the podcast so many times, those of you who are listeners, right? Part of doing that is going on, is shining, is literally utilizing all of our capabilities, again, with the caveat that we have to be gentle. I don't want anybody to come out of here and feel like, oh my gosh, this lady's pressuring me to. No, we have to be gentle, right? But using all of that strength that God has given us, those talents, and really lead forward with that and improve the world with that. And I think we're going to feel, we're shifting the way that we'll see how healing that can be, actually, not just for ourselves, but for the world. And I think, again, it wasn't talked about enough. And I know for myself, we talked during these 2 weeks, we were both like, I don't know, I felt like I wasn't, like chicken without a head, like what? Right? And suddenly it just hit me like, wait 1 minute. I have to remember something. Moshiach happens here in the physicality. Like, this transition that we're seeing to an elevated state of consciousness in the world, it's a very painful transition, but I know the end, and the end is awesome, and the end is here, which means that I have to be here. I have to use all my talents. I have to go and send those memos and those clients and call the supplier. I have to negotiate. I have to do this thing, because this is part of me bringing that world to perfection. And sometimes we miss that. And I want everybody to remember, the spirituality and the physicality are not mutually exclusive. It goes hand in hand. That's what God wants from us. And that, what a better place to reflect that than our businesses.
Absolutely. Everything you said is so beautiful. One idea comes, and it's connected to this idea of Moshiach. I think one of the things that when I see an entrepreneur push themselves to the next level, it's truly when they're forced to, and they have to expand. Whether it's that they have to get a whole new, set of skills, operations, because they're going from direct to consumer to wholesale. Whatever it is, the biggest changes happen when the entrepreneur is under pressure. Today we are under pressure. We are under attack. And we have a part of us that is missing, literally hundreds of us that are missing, over 1,000 of us that are not here. And so the ones that are have a very, very important, holy role to expand, to do more. And so, obviously this manifests in the way we're parenting. It can manifest in our friendships, to give more, to check in on people, all of these things that we really need to see ourselves in our potential and how big we can be as entrepreneurs. And this is an exercise. This is a very, very holy exercise. And this is one where we actually expand our heart. When you look at a family that has, 2 kids, or you look at a family that has 12, and you can say, how can that mother love that? Or you can look at person with one business, or look at myself, where like sometimes I have to literally write things out on a board because there's so many different focuses. But I truly think that when I've been under the most pressure is when I've been able to grow, when I've been able to expand as an entrepreneur. So using what's happening a little bit in the world while we are broken to really stretch. And this is what this coming Parsha is about, Lech Lecha. It's about leaving. It's about kind of getting out of our comfortable space. And, maybe you used to manage your business and maybe it was taken down completely in the past couple weeks, which is, it is what it is. But now, how do we come back in, and not only come back in with a lot of stability, heart, very grounded, but how do we now expand in there? How do we use this moment where we all feel constricted, and it's not unique to each person who's listening today. It's not unique to you or me. This is an actual global awakening. And then how do we go there and really fuel our businesses? How do we make that part of us wanting to give more tzedakah and give back in a bigger way? So, you know, in every hard time I've been able to see, whether it's business, personal, it was always a catalyst for growth and light, and more light if you want to see it that way, or it can really be the demise. Yeah. And, you know, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who have reached out to us this week, like, I don't know what to do. My head's under the covers. I'm not coming out. How can I sleep if all of this is happening in Israel? How can I even sleep? I think that, like we were saying, you know, there is no real separation between the material and the spiritual. We have to combine it. We have to have self-care in this time. You know, I have a wellness company, the Healers Collection, and we're seeing that people need the help today more than they did before. There was literally a foundation that was created to give bracelets. There are events that have been created to give back to Israel. So we are doing more in that company, and we have to do more because people need the self-care. They need to balance their day out. If their day is inundated with, you know, staying on social media and staying connected, it can often be pouring out. But then how are you receiving as well? So are you a male and are you stopping to daven? Are you a female and you're stopping to eat lunch, which Yael and I always talk about, like, let's try and schedule this after we eat.
Guilty.
But you know, this type of thing is very important. You know, a good friend of both of ours today, Margie, said to me, you know, there is that saying that if you're in a plane and they lose oxygen, you have to put on your mask first. And, you know, we are so blessed to be able to have an effect through our mitzvahs, through our good deeds, through our prayer. And we are actively doing. It does not mean we have to be doing 27 hours in a day. You know, we can really compartmentalize and make sure the why behind our businesses and fuel that why. And maybe you're not focusing on your business 8 hours a day. It might just be 5 or 6 during this time. But in that time, make it count. Israel needs us. It needs, you know, queens out there, you know, running and holding down the fort in this hard time.
Yeah. Israel needs us. The Jewish people needs us. The world needs us.
The world needs it.
We have to understand as queens, like who we represent, right? We've talked about it many times, you and I, right? We represent God in this world. We have to stand proud and say, oh, the world needs my light. That I don't have a choice.
It's a fact.
I was handpicked. I was handpicked, you know, I was handpicked. And somebody emailed this morning and said, are you going, when I sent out an email announcing our live today and said, are you guys going through with your Maximized Business Mastermind? And I said, yes, actually, yes, we are.
Absolutely.
We absolutely, because we know that we want you as business owners to tap into that potential, to really create that impact, to really build that wealth. When, if not, you know, as we were saying, if it's not now, has there ever been a more important time for us to really go there? I mean, I think the answer is super obvious. So of course we're going to be.
I want to tell you something to that effect. Yesterday, you know, I think a woman carries a ton of guilt. And, you know, obviously I've been under the weather because obviously the empathy of everything that is going on. I've been overachieving, trying to speak, trying to get on lives, trying to inspire women. To even the small text that I'm getting from people, hey, I got your number, I need help, whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's coping, you know, and I'm running. And yesterday I had to go to a doctor's appointment. I just had to take care of myself. And I was nearby, a place where I could buy some things. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take 30 minutes and go shopping. Like I need to. And even though that may seem like, you know, there are such important topics right now. There's topics of doing more chesed, saying more tehillim. There are real efforts being put out there. And so, you know, why is this girl on Instagram talking about her shopping after a doctor's appointment? It's actually precisely that. If I am not prepared for the trips I have to take, if I am not showing up put together, if I am not able to, attend a board meeting where I am feeling okay and able to empower the companies that I stand behind, so then I'm not doing myself a service, and I'm definitely not doing anybody on my team a service, my customers, etc. And we know that everything extends and is a mirror of how we're feeling. And so it's extremely important in this time. And when it goes back to maximize and the question that you were asked this morning, you know, us ourselves, we're like, okay, this is a really big thing. We are about to embark on a course with all of these active people who are excited about fueling their business through all these tools that they're going to be learning on Maximize. And we are so excited to give over this knowledge, you know, and at the same time, we're supposed to have the guilt, we're supposed to have the shame, and we're supposed to have the pain, and we do. And we do, and it's natural. And like you said, you don't want anybody to come off of this and say, oh, you know, I watched this live and I'm supposed to be in the business and working and opening my office. You know what? Truth be told, my first day back in the office was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it took me time. It took me time. And I think that for some people, time is a week, and for some people, time is a month. And we have to do with what we have. And as there's new facts that are coming out, you know, maybe dedicating some time to really have that space to mourn, to have that space to connect to what's happening and how deep and profound this time is, but also really allocating the time. If you have a business to run, to do what you have to do. If you have Tehillim to say, to organize the time. Because I found also that we're doing all these great efforts, and then some people are saying, I took on this Tehillim, I didn't do it, I'm feeling the guilt. And, you know, to sit there and just give it a Seder. Say, you know what, I'm going to work 2 hours this morning. That's it, basta. I'm putting 2 hours in the office. And then if I want to be on social media for 30 minutes to repost, to sound my voice, you know, and then, you know, from this time to this time, I'm going to be taking care of my children, my home, myself. Extremely important.
Yeah,
So,
so much of what you said reminds me of your father, and you know what you were describing about, and how his mission with BCBG was, you know, I want to make sure that women show up confidently. I think that just came through in what you were saying before. And you know, Maximize in so many ways is an ode to his name and to his work. And
absolutely.
I am so proud to be part, living in this time. And I think I'll leave this as a final remark on my end. Like, if we are living in this time where, yes, we're experiencing the birth pangs of Moshiach, it's painful. It's so painful. Like, it's like, until when, right? Like, we cannot handle this pain anymore. But if we are here, it means that there's something that we're needed for. And that includes all of my persona, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a wife, as a business owner, as a woman of faith. Like, all of me is needed, because all of me has been chosen to be part of this generation.
Absolutely.
And just to remind ourselves, like, yeah, the process of birth is very, very painful. And everybody knows there's a point called transition where you think, like, this is it. Like, if you don't prepare yourself properly and hone in on the fact that focus on the end goal, which is so amazing, right? And remember that the pain is actually really purposeful, because the pain is your body's contractions to actually give birth to this incredible life, right? So we're going through the same thing. But we now have to remember constantly, what is the end goal? What is the awesomeness that is out there? And that my role now is to be all the things that I could do in labor to help myself, whether it be have a doula, whether it be stand up, whether it be go in the water, whether it be using the birth ball, right? All the things so that I can shorten the painful process and make it less painful and get to that end result. That's what we've been chosen to. That's why we're in this generation. So being in our businesses and showing up for our businesses, for our consumers, for our teams, leading with the right intention and the right why, and leading with our tzedakah and all of that is part of being chosen.
It's so true. It's so true. You're making me think of one last story. I don't think I've ever shared this story in a live or anything like this, but September 11th, I happened to have been in New York. It was a runway show. It was Fashion Week. And our entire teams were there, our design teams, our executive teams. Our fashion show was the night before, on the 10th. We wake up on the 11th with the surprise of our lives, and we were not prepared. Right. And when you talk about what is our role like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs and, some of the, people that we already have signed up for Maximize are coming back to us and asking us these questions. And it's like, what do we do in this time? And I remember September 11th very clearly. We woke up in the morning. We prepared buses for the people who wanted to be bused home. Flights were getting canceled left and right. So we were booking people hotels. We were, taking care of food coming in. And, it took about a week to get everybody home and all of these things. But there was no other place than lead. And the Jewish nation today are being asked to lead.
Right.
And so we have to take that job extremely seriously. We can have time to break. We can have time to take care of ourselves. We can have time to, to do the important things exactly. Like Tehillim, acts of kindness, increasing more light, reaching out to your Jewish neighbors, all of the things that we can be doing for sure. But to leave behind an essential part of ourselves, most of us that are entrepreneurs, it is an essential part of the things that we've created in this world and the role that Hashem has given us to be a leader. And this is our time. This is our time to do both, to expand the size of your heart, to really hold both emotions. I saw Rabbi Lipsker in Miami spoke so beautifully a couple weeks ago. Can we have room for both? We can, and even in a larger way today. And so, like we said, when it feels constricted, we can grow stronger and bigger. Am Yisrael Chai, really, really a special time to be in leadership, a really special time to be bringing more to the world. In our spiritual sense, in our material sense, we are really, really tasked to be kings and queens today.
Yeah. Amen, amen, and we're up for it. And if anybody has more comments, more questions, please DM us. Applications for Maximize are open. We are welcoming you to apply. yaeltrusch.com/maximize. I think, Joyce, you said it best. Like the size of your heart, we can expand the size of our heart, and that goes hand in hand with expanding the size of our businesses. Because,
Amen.
guys, again, the materiality is the spirituality. This is just the Jewish way. So let's go ahead and let's do it.
Thank you
Joyce.
so much.
Bye,
ciao.
everybody. Ciao.